Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers to the drawing on April 17th, 2019. If you'd like to get my game Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Thank you, and please subscribe. Okay, so the object of my game is for you to correctly eliminate groups of numbers. There are 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball Lottery. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. So to help me do that, I'm going to turn to the 5 strategies of my game. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball Lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 4, 17, 26, 32, and 49. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And now I'm going to find out what colors they were. Okay, so the 4 was blue, the 17 was blue, the 26 was purple, the 32 was red, and the 49 was red. Okay, so I'm going to color these in. So again, the 4 and the 17 were blue. The 26 was purple, and the 32 and 49 were red. Okay, so now I'm going to count how many colors I have. I have 2 blue, 2 red, and the purple for 3 colors total. Okay, so now I'm going to come up here. I'm going to make this 323 color code drawings I kept track of so far. And out of this 323 drawings, a 3-color combination has now come up 174 times. Okay. So if you do some quick math here, okay, and you divide 174 into 323, you're going to see that a 3-color combination comes up more than half the time, okay? And to me, that's huge because long term, if I just keep on picking a 3-color combination, I know I'm going to be correct statistically more than half the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is make a new game card. So I'm going to get rid of all these colors. Okay, so, whoops. Okay, so what I do is I took the 69 white ball numbers, okay, and I divided it by 5 different colors, and that's 1 for each of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay, and that equals 13.8. So my goal is to get as close to as 13 or 14 numbers per color as possible, okay, or a good representation of each color. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the red numbers, and you can see my color code is right here. All right, so I take the last 3 drawings of numbers and I make these red, and the reason why I do this is because this will give me a maximum of 15 numbers. Okay, so again, I'm going to start off with the 4, 17, 26, 32, 49. And then the next row is 12, 21, 23, 39, 67. And then the last row is 15, 33, 43, 59, and 60. Okay, so I'm going to make these red numbers. Okay, and now I'm going to count how many I have. So I got 5 here, and 5 here, and 5 over here for 15 numbers. Okay, so I'm going to leave this at 15. So up here, this tells me how many colors I have on the number of colors I have on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the orange now. And I'm going to start with the 16, and then the 19, the 25, the 32, which you can see is already taken by the red. Okay, and then the 49 is taken by the red as well. So I'm going to go to the 21, that's taken. So I'll go to the 52, 54, 64, 68. Okay, then the 16, which is already taken, the 20, 37, 44, 62. And then the last row is 24, 25, which is taken, 52 is taken, 60, and 66 is open, so I'll make that orange as well. Okay, so now I'm going to count how many orange numbers. So I got 2, 1 is 3, and 3 is 6, 4 is 10, and 3 is 13. So I'm right there at that 13 mark where I want to be. Okay, so you can see how I fill in these numbers. I fill in the game card with colors here. Okay, so now I usually do the green and then move on to the blue, and whatever's left is purple. Okay, so just to save on time, I'm gonna scroll over to the right here. Okay, I think you get the idea of how I came up with this. Okay, so it turns out that there was 15 red numbers, 13 orange, turned out to be 19 green, 14 blue, and 8 purple. Okay, so now the game card's all set for April 17th, 2019. Okay, so again, I want to point out how this 3-color combination comes up more than half the time. Okay, so if 3 colors come up more than half the time, that means 2 colors are not coming up more than half the time. Okay, and that's what I want to concentrate on here. Okay, because again, I want to eliminate numbers. Okay, so you can see with the last drawing, no green numbers came up at all. Okay, so I'm gonna make a guess on what color I don't think is gonna come up, and I'm gonna go with purple. Okay, so I just don't think any purple numbers are gonna come up. Mostly because there's only 8 of them. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate these purple numbers off of the game card. And hopefully none of these purple numbers come up. Okay, so again, when I block out a number like this 22, this means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so if I'm correct with my guess and none of these purple numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so what I like to do is get you involved here at home. Okay, so I'd like you to pause the video, go grab some paper, and draw out the game card at home. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, if you're going to follow me and say no purple numbers are going to come up, then this is how your game card should look at home. Okay, so just X out the number that you don't think is going to come up. Okay, so moving on. Let me go back to the game card here. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, so what I did is I took all the 69 numbers and I divided it into 7 different groups. Okay, so the first group has 1 through 9. That's the only group with 9 numbers. And then the rest have 10. Okay, so again, there's 7 groups total here. And there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I know that 2 of these groups cannot have winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups will not have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so how I use this is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings. And I like to break it down into 5 because when I go to the history of things, it's easier to count back on 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. Okay, so another reason why I break it down into 5 is because if there's a lot of hits within these 5 drawings here, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, or vice versa. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow this back up, and I'm going to show you how I use this. Okay, so we're right here for the last drawing. Okay, you can see it was the 4, 17, 26, 32, 49. Okay, so that turns out to be it hit 5 groups. Okay, so going back into the history of things, you can see a 4 comes up most of the time here. Okay, especially when I get down into this history here. So You can see lots of 4s, lots of 3s, okay? A 5 comes up every now and again, and a 2 will come up every once in a blue moon, okay? So I never seen a 1. I never seen all 5 of these group numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 come up at once, okay? So haven't seen that yet, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this 4 in here, okay? So I'm going to mark it blue because the 4 is blue, and the 4 is blue because of the color code, okay? So now I could highlight this 4, and I could go back into the history and see what colors have come up, okay? So here's another blue one. Orange, blue, blue, orange, purple, okay? The one thing that I haven't seen is a red number, okay? So maybe that 4 will come right back up, okay? Because as you can see, it's never been red, okay? Like this, like here's a red number right here, okay? So what that means is, let me go back to the color code thing for just 1 second, okay? The game card. Okay, so again, you can see that this 4 has never been red, and it's in the red area right now, okay? So in the next 3 drawings, I'm thinking that this 4 will probably pop back up, okay? We'll see what happens on that, all right? But I do have a feeling that it's going to come up within this next 3 drawings and be red somewhere here, okay? So moving on, again, you can see that this is a grouping of its own, all right? So here's the 4 in one group, okay? The 17 in another, the 26 in another, 32 in another group, and then the 49 in the 5th group, okay? So I don't think another 5 is going to pop up, okay? I'm thinking that it's going to be a 4, all right? So that's what I want to concentrate on, is I think that the next drawing will have what the 5 numbers will hit 4 groups, okay? So I also think that there will probably be another number here within this grouping of 1 through 9, all right? So I expect to see another number come up, and I'm thinking that it might be the 4, okay? So moving on. Basically what I need to do now with the individual numbers is pick a group of numbers that I don't think are going to come up in this drawing, okay? So like I said, I think a number is going to come up through 1 through 9 here, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick that no 20 numbers are going to come up, all right? So the last drawing here, if you could have said no 50 numbers were going to come up, you would have been correct, okay? So I'm going to make a guess that no 20 numbers are going to come up, and what I'm going to do is eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so let me blow this back up. I'm going to go to the game card, and I'm going to get rid of the 20 numbers. Okay, so here's the 20, 21, 22 is gone, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29. So hopefully none of those numbers come up, because I'm going to X them out here. Okay, so that's what I want you to do at home, is look at the game card here. Let me reduce this down for you real quick. And you make a decision on which one of these groups will not have a winning Powerball number to it, okay? So if you need more time, then pause the video, okay? And then X out this color group, X out this group of numbers off your game card, okay? So I'm going to move on. And I'm going to go to the next strategy, which is strategy number 3, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. Okay, so again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. Okay, so I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing. Okay, so here you can see that I kept track of 368 drawings. Okay, and that goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball Lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers. Okay, so basically what happened here is you can see that the last drawing, there was an even, odd, even, even, odd. Okay, so there's 3 evens and 2 odd numbers, all right? So you can see the 2 odds and 3 evens, okay? So that brings it up to 174 drawings have been, out of 368 drawings, have been the majority of even numbers, okay? And 194 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers. So moving on, what I do here is I keep track of every 5 drawings, and that's just to give me an idea, okay, of what to guess at. All right. So why I like to do this is because when I look at the groups of numbers, I'm going to show you this group number 1. Okay, this is a group of numbers that I keep track of. And you can see that I took all the 69 numbers and divided it into 4 different groups, and I put colors to these groups. Okay, so when the 5 white winning Powerball land within these groups, I record where they land down here in the stats. Okay, now what the 50-50 picks do is they help me make a decision on which one of these groups will not be coming up. Okay, so as I go back to the 50-50 picks here, I am going to pick that more even numbers are going to come up than odd. Okay, so I want to write that down, and I want you to write down what your guess is. Okay, so again, I think there's going to be more even numbers than odd numbers. Okay, so going back to the 50-50 picks here, I'm going to move on to the high and low here. And as I look at this, you can see that things are really close. Okay, 186 to 182. All right. And as I go back, you can see that there's been a bunch of high. Okay. High drawings. Okay. So out of this, this is why I like to break it down into 5 so I could count. So it's 5, 10, 15 drawings. Okay. So out of this 15 drawings, it's been the majority to the high side. At least 9 out of these 15 drawings here. Okay. So when's the majority going to go low? It could be now. All right. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a guess that this is going to be the majority of high numbers. Okay. So I'm going to write that down as well. I think out of the 5 numbers, at least 3 of them are going to be up in this area here. Okay. So going back, here with the left and right here, as I head back into the history of things, you can see that it's been to the right side. Let's see here, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 drawings that has been to the right. So I'm going to say that more numbers are going to be to the left side than the right side. Okay, so I'm thinking at least 3 numbers are going to be over here to the left side, right? Correct. And at least 3 numbers will be up here to the top side. So moving on, I'm going to write down left, and you write down what you think is going to happen. Okay. Okay, one more. And this is that red and blue area. Okay. So you can see that the red is way far out. Okay. Way far ahead. 205 drawings, so 163 drawings. Okay. So I'm going to say that I think more blue numbers are going to, at least 3 numbers will be in this blue area than the red. Okay. So I'm going to write that down as well. Okay, and now I am going to, I do have something for the red number, the Powerball number, okay? So there's 26 red numbers, and basically what I did in this column right here, I just divided it into 2, Okay, so if you see a blue number, that means it's low, 1 to 13. If you see a red number, that means it's high, 14 to 26. Okay, and over on this column, if you see a red number, that means it's odds. If you see a blue, that means it's evens. Okay, and the reason why I do that is because I just look at the colors now. Okay, so when I see a long thing of red here, a long streak of red, well, I know it's going to be blue eventually, you know, just like over here. Six drawings in a row where it's blue. So with this next drawing, I think it's going to be red. So I think the number will be an odd number. Okay, and I've been picking 9 for the last 5-6 drawings now. Okay, so hopefully that 9 will come up because I'm going to pick it again. Okay, so again, I think that this will be an odd number. And if the 9 comes up, it will be another blue, which looks like that will be fine with me. Okay, so again, I'm going to go with the Powerball number of 9. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. So again, what you're looking at here is my group 1 numbers. And like I said before, I divided all the numbers into 4 different groups and put colors to these groups. Okay, so what I'm going to do is update this. All right, so the last drawing, it was the 4, 17, 26. Okay, so there's 3 in the red area, 3 winning Powerball numbers in the red area. Okay. And then it was the 32, which is here in blue. Okay, so there's 1 here in the blue. And then the last number was 49 here in the orange. Okay, so there was no winning Powerball numbers in the green area. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Okay, so if I could have eliminated all these green numbers off of the game card, I could have gave myself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize. Okay, so I'm going to color these in. Okay, so if it's a hit, I color the background red for hot. And if it's a miss, I color the background blue for cold. Okay, and I also marked this 93, and this tells me how many blue marks I have in this column here. Okay, so you can see that the red is kind of way behind here. All right. So maybe this will go on a streak where these numbers will be not coming up. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction on where this 0 is going to be. Okay. And again, I want to help you as well pick. Okay. So this is where those 50-50 picks come in here. Again, I think more even numbers, more to the high side, more to the left side, and more to this blue area. Okay, so automatically I'm thinking that at least 2 numbers will be in this area right here. Okay, that's if I'm correct with my guesses here. Okay, so as I go back to group 1, I want to envision that. Okay, so at least 3 numbers up here to the high side, and at least 3 numbers over here to the left side, and at least 3 numbers in this area here. Okay, so what does that say? You know, does it say that maybe no green numbers will be coming up? Okay. Another thing I want to point out is this row right here. Okay. What does a row mean? It means that all 4 color groups were hit. Okay. So maybe a row will be coming up as well where there'll be a winning Powerball number in each of these 4 groups. Okay. So I'm going to leave this one alone, and I'm going to move on to the next one. Okay, so I have 15 of these option cards to choose from. And basically, I only want to choose from 1 or 2. Okay, so again, more numbers over here to the left side. Okay. But maybe none in this orange area, this red area, I mean. Okay. So as you look at this, you can see that there's a bunch of single zeros, okay? And once in a while, they double up or even triple up, like right down here, okay? And you can see that there's a bunch here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 single zeros, okay? So at home, at your place, you may want to consider taking out this red area here, okay? Now, I already made my pick, so I'm going to keep on moving on here. Okay, so we're on to number 3. So again, I think at least 3 numbers will be up here in this area. That leaves 2 numbers down here, okay? So this may be a row as well, where there'll be a winning Powerball number in each of these color groups here, okay? And I don't really see anything that's really going to help me make a decision, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Okay, so you can see that this orange is way behind, okay? So you may want to consider having these orange numbers. You may want to eliminate these orange numbers off of your game card, okay? Moving on to number 5. Again, I want to envision where those winning Powerball numbers are going to be, okay? So 3 up this way and 2 over here, okay? So maybe this orange will not come up again, okay? So you may want to consider this orange here, all right? These orange numbers. Moving on to 6. This is where everything's divided into odds and evens. You can see all the red numbers are odds, okay? All the blue are evens, all right? So I think that more even numbers are going to come up, right? And I think that more numbers are going to be here to the upper side and over to the left. So I'm thinking for you at home that maybe no red numbers are going to come up. Okay, so you may want to eliminate these red numbers off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 7. Here you may want to take this green, okay, because you can see down here it had a really long run. So it's like 14, then an 8, then a 9, then a 5. Then 22, okay, 2, 9. So maybe this will be a 5 right here, okay? And the 0 will be right here, okay? So maybe you want to consider not taking these green numbers. That maybe these green numbers may not come up in the drawing, okay? So moving on to number 8. And this is where I'm going to make my pick, okay? I am going to say that no red numbers are going to come up, okay? And the reason why is because it's, as I go back into the history of things, you can see that there's going to be a bunch of these single blue marks, okay? Just a lot of them, okay? So because there were so many single blue marks in the history of things, then maybe it's going to go on a streak of doubling up, like right here, okay? So that's what I hope is going to happen. I hope the 0 is going to be right here. So I'm going to eliminate these red numbers off of my game card, okay? So it's the this diagonal one, the 28, and then this little bow tie looking thing, okay? And then the 57 and 40 kind of stick out. So let me eliminate these, okay? So I'm going to eliminate the 19 as well with that. And I'll go over that in a second. Okay, so I'll get rid of all those numbers and hopefully they don't come up, okay? Okay, so I want to point out this 67 here, okay? So as I go back to the game card, you can see that there's numbers off to the left, okay? So this 19 shares the square with the 67, okay? So you can see it's 17, 18. The 19 is supposed to be right here, but you see the 67, okay? So basically, when I go back to this group 1 here, you don't see any numbers off here to the left side, okay? So what I did is I teamed up the 19 and the 67 to share this square here, okay? So if I get rid of these red numbers here, I'm getting rid of 5 numbers, the 1, 10, 19, 28, and 67 as a group, okay? So this is how you have to look at it. It's all about grouping up numbers, all right? So moving on to number 9 here. You may want to consider this green not coming up because it hit 13 drawings in a row, so maybe it's due. And plus there's been 4 rows, so maybe there'll be a 0 on one of these things, okay? And the one that looks the most obvious here is the green, okay? So maybe you want to consider these green numbers to pick, not to come up, okay? So moving on to 10. This, I really don't see anything, okay? But I have a long streak here without a row, so maybe you want to consider when you're picking what you think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers that represents each one of these 4 color groups on this option card number 9, okay? Because I think it's going to be a row here pretty soon, okay? So moving on to 11. Here I really don't see too much either. So I'm going to leave this one alone, and I'm going to go off to number 12. And this is where I'm going to make another pick. I'm going to say no red numbers. Okay, just a gut feeling. You can see that there's a bunch of single zeros here, okay? And now I think that it's going to double up here again, okay? So I'm going to get rid of these red numbers off of my game card. Okay, so I'll get rid of the 18, 14, 15. All these in the middle square here. Okay, so hopefully I'm correct and none of those numbers come up, all right? And as you can see, I'm reducing the numbers here, so hopefully I made all the correct picks and the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers are still left here on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to keep on going here, all right? I only like to pick 2 out of this group 1, okay? And that's it. So here, what I'm going to recommend is this blue. Actually, you know, this is the thing about the 50-50 picks again. Again, I think more numbers are going to be over here, so I should be concentrating over here on missed numbers, okay? So here, either go for the green or the orange, okay? And I haven't seen 3 come up in a while, okay? In this green area where it's been 1, 2, 3 zeros in a row, okay? So maybe that will happen here, okay? So you may want to consider eliminating these green numbers off your game card, okay? So moving on to 14. Here's another one where you may want to take the green because I hit 25 drawings in a row. Okay, so maybe these green numbers are due to miss, so you may want to get rid of those as well. Okay, so last card here. Okay, as I go down, possibly this red. Haven't seen a 3-0 grouping like this in a while. Okay, so maybe you want to get rid of these red numbers. Okay. So here with this group 1, this is my group 1 overview. Okay, so here with this last drawing, you can see that I have a 5 and it's marked with a blue spot. Okay, so that means this is the red areas. All right, so again, with all the 15 option cards, they all have the same colors as far as red, blue, orange, green. Okay, and now I keep track of those colors as a group of all 15 option cards, okay? So when you see a 5, that means at least 5 of these option cards had a 0 to it in the red area, okay? So here's option card 15 with a 0, 14 with a 0, 12 with a 0, 8 with a 0, okay? So there's 4 zeros in the red area, okay? So there was one more, and there it is, option card number 4 with a 0 to it, okay? So this is the thing with the group 1 overview. If I could correctly guess where one of these blue marks are going to be, like let's say, gee, I think there's going to be a blue mark here in this orange area, then that means out of these 15 option cards, I think a third of them are going to have a 0 to them, okay? So this is the strategy of the whole thing of looking at this and saying, well, I think there's going to be lots of groups in the orange area that will have miss to it. So I'll just concentrate on those orange areas, okay? So that's it for group 1, okay? So I'm off to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers, okay? So much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different groups, okay? So the big difference is that there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So I know that 3 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it, okay? So the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these color groups will not have the winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card, okay? So I'm going to update this one as well, okay? So again, it was the 4 green, 17 red, 26 blue, 32 yellow, and 49 red, okay? So you can see how I have these lined up of red, blue, orange, green, from left to right here, red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow, okay? So that's how it is with all 15 of these option cards. It's all the same colors, except that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other, from each different option card, okay? So I like to read things from left to right, so I'm going to say the 17, 49, so 2 red, 1 blue, 2 red, 1 blue, 1 green, and 1 yellow, okay? 2 red, blue, 1 green, 1 yellow. So as I come down here, I'm going to put that in the red area. 2 for the 1749, 1 in the blue area for that 26. No winning Powerball numbers in that orange area. 1 in the green for that 4. No winning Powerball numbers in the purple. No winning Powerball numbers in the brown. None in the gray. And that 32 was in the yellow. Okay, so now I count how many color groups got hit. So 1, 2, 3, 4 total. And because the majority of the numbers were over here to the left side, I'm going to color this 4 red. Okay, so that lets me know that the majority of the numbers were over here to the left side for this drawing. Okay, so as you can see from here to here, the majority has been to the right, to this right side. Okay, so one's going to jump over here to the left side. All right, so it could be here where this could be a highlighted red area like so. Okay, so we'll see what happens. All right, so that means that the majority of the numbers will probably be over here to the left side like we talked about. Okay, and that means I want to concentrate over here on the right side of where I think that 0 is going to pop up. All right, so I'm going to say that I don't think any purple numbers are going to come up. I think the 0 will be right here. Okay, so we'll see what happens, and I'm going to eliminate those purple numbers off of my game card, the 5 down to the 61. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the 5, 13, 37, 69, which shares the square with the 53, So I'll get rid of that as well. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of all those. So hopefully I'm correct, and none of those numbers come up. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to go back to group 2 here, and I want to give you a chance to pick for yourself. Okay, so you decide where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay, if you need more time, then pause the video and then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 2. Heading down through here, you can see a bunch of green over here. So I'm going to go with, I think the 0 is going to be here in this gray area. So I'm going to get rid of the gray numbers off of my game card. And that's the 49 to the 56. So I'll get rid of the 49. Hopefully that doesn't come back up. Okay. And for you at home, we're going to scroll down slowly here for you. Okay, if you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so number 3, I'm going to go with no red numbers. As you can see, things got pretty hot over here. Actually, I never explained that, did I? Okay, so why this has a background of blue to it is because I like to break things down into 5. So you can see that this represents 5 drawings. And out of this 5 drawings, there was 3 misses to it. So none of these red numbers came up in 3 of these drawings, okay? So again, when the majority is zeros, I color the background blue for cold. When the majority is hits, I color the background red for hot, okay? And this is what random looks like, okay? So when I see something that's been a bunch of red, well, I know it's going to be blue eventually, and that's when I'm going to start picking zeros, okay? So as I go down, you can see that things have been really, really hot here in this red area. And now I think it's going to start to cool off and have a streak of blue down here, okay? So again, I don't think any red numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them. And that's the 4 and the 37 off of the game card. So I'll get rid of the 4 and the 12, and that's it. Okay, so for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly here for you. And you decide where you think that 0 is going to be. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 4. For me, I'm going to go with no red again. So as I head down through, you could see that things got a little hot through here. Then cold, then back to hot. So now I think the 0 is going to be here and have a streak of blue coming up. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the red numbers here. And that's the 5 and the 33. So I'll get rid of the 6, the 8, the 66, the 33, 35, and 36. So hopefully none of those numbers come up, okay? And for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly here for you. Tell you this yellow looks awful tempting, okay? So doesn't the green. Okay, but it's your choice. You make your decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 5. Okay, I have 15 of these option cards as well, so we're a third of the way through. So for me, I'm going to say that no blue numbers are going to come up, okay? So you can see this little streak right here, so I think the 0 is going to be right here. And we'll see what happens. And I'm going to get rid of these blue numbers off of my game card. So I'll get rid of the 31. Hopefully that doesn't come up, okay? And for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly here for you. Okay, so if you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 6. For me, I'm going to go with orange. So as I scroll down through here, you can see that things got pretty hot. And now I think the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so we'll see what happens. And I'm going to get rid of the 5, 14, 21, 30 all the way down. And the only one left is the 62. So I'll get rid of the 62. And for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly here for you. And you decide where that 0 is going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 7. For me, I went with no brown. So here's the brown. And as I head down through, you see things got a little hot here. So I'm going to say no brown numbers. And that's the 1, 10, 3, 12 all the way across. So I'll get rid of the 3. Okay, so for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly. You see this green looks pretty tempting, okay? Now this is the thing. I only like to pick at one and then move on to the next one, okay? Because if I get this brown right in picking another one, the odds go way, way up that I'm going to get it wrong, okay? So again, I just pick at one and move on to the next option card. Okay, so make a decision. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 8. For me, I'm going to go with no red numbers. Okay, so as I scroll down through, you see things got really hot here. So I think the 0 is going to be here. So again, I'm going to get rid of the red numbers. And that's the 5, 16, 21, 31 all the way down. And I'll get rid of the 48. Okay, so for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly. Okay, you can see a bunch of red, so maybe the zeros will be over here. All right, that's what I'm hoping. Okay, so if you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 9. For me, I'm going to go with no yellow. And as I head down through, you can see that things are pretty hot here. So now I think the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these yellow numbers, which is the 12, 17 on the left side and the pattern of 8, 29 on the right side. So I'll get rid of those two numbers. Okay, so for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly here for you. You decide where you think that 0 is going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 10. For me, I'm going to go with brown. So as I scroll down through, see that things got a little hot up here, and now it's starting to cool off, so I think it's going to stay cool here. Okay, so Again, I'm going to go with no brown numbers. And that's the 1126 all the way around. So I'll get rid of the 68. Just one more number to get rid of. Hopefully it doesn't come up. Okay? So for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly. You can see this gray looks pretty tempting. Okay? Okay, so moving on to, whoops, I'm sorry. Decide where you think that 0 is going to be. Pause the video if you need to. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, we just got 5 more to go here. Okay, so moving on to 11. I'm picking that no red numbers are going to come up. So as I scroll down through, you see that things got pretty hot here. So now I think a 0 is going to be right here. I'll get rid of those red. And that's the 6, 17, 35, 56. So I'll get rid of the 64 and 65. Okay, so now I'm getting down there. I got 3 and 3 is 6 and 1 is 7. So I just got a couple more to go. Okay, so for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly. Okay, you make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. We know that there's going to be at least 3 of them. Okay, if you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 12. For me, I'm going to go with no blue. Okay, so here's the blue, and as I scroll down, you see that things got pretty hot here. Okay, so I think the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these blue numbers, the 66 and 36. Okay, so that brings it down to the 5 numbers. Okay, so I am going to go with the 2, the 41, the 38. Oh, it turned out to be more odd numbers than even, so I'm going to change this up to, I'll get rid of it, okay? And I'll get rid of this blue. All right, so again, that's what I'm going to go with, the 2, 38, 41. I'm just 38, 39, 41, and 59. Okay, so that's what I'm going to go with. Okay, so I'm going to go back and go down slowly for you. Okay, so you decide where you think that 0 is going to be. Pause the video if you need to. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to 13. This is just for you at home. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down slowly. And certainly over here, this red looks pretty attractive, so maybe you want to pick this red. Okay, so make a decision. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to 14. This is just for you at home. Okay, I'm going to scroll down slowly. See how hot this gray has been. You may want to consider gray. Okay, so make a decision and then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to 15. Again, this is just for you at home. I'm going to scroll down slowly. Certainly this red looks pretty attractive. Okay, you may want to consider that red. Okay, so make a decision on where you think that 0 is going to be. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay. That's it for today. Okay, so I want to go over the odds. Okay, so the odds to get the grand prize, to get all 5 white numbers and the red number, the odds are 1 in 292 million that you get that correct. Okay, this is my goal, to get all 5 white balls correct. That pays $1 million. If you do the power play, it's $2 million. The odds of that are just about 1 in 11.5 million. Okay. A good prize here is 4 white balls and a red ball. That pays $50,000. And if you get the power play, then it's whatever the power play is, 2 times 2, 3, 4, or 5. Okay. And that's just about 1 in a million odds that you get that right. Okay. So coming down to the more realistic odds. Okay. If you get 4 white balls or 3 white and the red, that's $100 plus the power play if you play it. Okay. And then 3 white balls or 2 white balls and a red ball will pay $7, and that's the more realistic one that you could get. Okay, so I just want to say, you know how they're always saying play responsibly. So I just want to say that if you spend $3 per drawing, there's 2 drawings per week. That will equal $312 that you will spend on the lottery per year. Okay, so in closing, I just want to thank you for watching. If you'd like to support my channel, then please go to my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. Okay, and as always, I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.